Welcome to the Feel Your Best Formula podcast. Are you over 40 and tired of struggling with your weight, dieting, and constantly feeling like you're starting over with nutrition and fitness? Do you wish you had more energy? Do you want to lose weight and finally keep it off for good? I'm Lil, a certified nutrition coach and former registered nurse. I too have been there, and at the age of 44, I decided I was done with fad diets and chasing a lower number on the scale. I was so tired of constantly starting over and wondering why I couldn't get lasting results. I became a nutrition coach and created the Feel Your Best formula for women who want to build muscle, lose fat, and keep it off for good. If you're ready to build a better relationship with food, the scale, and your body, let's build your formula for feeling your best. If you're new here, make sure to check the episode details for the link to my newbie starter guide. You'll receive an email straight to your inbox with everything you need to start building your Feel Your Best formula. I'm so glad you're here. Now let's dive into today's episode. Hello, welcome to the Feel Your Best Formula podcast. I'm Lil, of course, and this is my second attempt to record this episode. I was about 5 minutes in and realized that I had my microphone on mute. So that is not very conducive to recording. So I'm starting over, but that's just the reality of podcasting. I am sitting here in my office with the lights turned off, trying to do my best to eliminate any background noise. I ask my kids to be quiet. I'm hoping the dog stays quiet and just do my best to get this episode recorded. It's not a glamorous life here. Honestly, today's topic, I don't know why I have not done a comprehensive episode on this, and that's okay. It's better late than never. But the truth is I think sometimes coming from a place of understanding and knowing and having more knowledge, I can sometimes forget that you don't know and you need this basic information so that you can move forward and make informed choices when it comes to your health and wellness. So this is like a foundational episode where the information in here is really going to help you anytime you need to make a decision about your fitness and nutrition. I became a nutrition coach because I wanted to support women to learn how to nourish their bodies after chasing weight loss, a lower number on the scale myself for so long, and finally having that understanding that that isn't the way to do things and there's a better way to get fit and get lean and stay that way and maintain it. I wanted to share this message with other women. And I'm so tired of all these narratives out there that have such poor outcomes. And I'm not just talking about the frustration of like going on a diet, having quote unquote success, and then going off the diet and gaining all the weight back and constantly being an all in or all out. There are more far-reaching negative effects to diet culture that are so toxic and terrible for especially women. And I want to be part of this message to show you that there is a better way to think about things. And I really hope that this message starts to gain momentum. One way that you can do that is by sharing this podcast with other people, especially when you're talking to your girlfriends, which, you know, everybody starts talking about, oh, I got to lose 20 pounds. I got to lose weight for such and such a person's wedding or to go on vacation. I need to do this. I need to do that. And it's a lot of should haves. A lot of the conversations that women have are a lot of, I should be doing this. I should be doing that. Just hand them this podcast and be like, listen to this lady. She's going to tell you something different than what you've been hearing, and maybe you want to listen. Because this message of constant weight loss, chasing a lower number on the scale, because it's so hard to maintain, it creates these bigger problems like eating disorders where you fear foods. And it could be something like just some mild orthorexia, which is something I personally have dealt with, where I realized I was at this point where I was obsessing so much about my food choices and feeling so much shame and guilt when I would eat something that was not quote approved by the diet I was on, or if I wasn't measuring my foods in the containers for the program that I was on. So much shame, so much guilt, and feeling like my food choices were a reflection of the type of person that I was, and that if I wasn't doing a good enough job, then it meant I wasn't a good enough person. And that is a symptom of orthorexia, where you become so obsessed with being healthy that it becomes unhealthy and your mental health suffers. And that's something that I have dealt with. And it took me getting away from that way of thinking to really realize how damaging that was. And the reason we're doing this topic today is so that you can just have the cold, hard facts about nutrition, because diet culture likes to keep it confusing. They don't really want you to know what's going on. They want to say, here, follow my plan, this magical plan that's going to help you lose that weight you've always wanted. But if you don't understand the basics of how nutrition works in your body, you're just going to take it at face value, and they may or may not be giving you a plan that is actually healthy for you and a healthy way to reach your goals. Life is stressful and complicated enough. Your healthy habits should not be. Your healthy habits should make your life easier. And when we were following diets where make us obsess over whether or not choosing between quinoa or brown rice is better for us, or a slice of whole grain bread, or an egg versus chicken. I mean, some of these diet plans can just get so in the weeds with making you think that these little tiny decisions have such a big impact on the outcome when they don't. Because if you're not just focusing on the basics, then you can get lost in these diets where you're putting so much time and energy trying to focus on things that do not matter. So part of my message here in today's episode is learn to know what actually matters when it comes to your food choices. And we're going to talk about that. This episode is meant to educate you. And perhaps if you've been approaching weight loss the wrong way your entire life, maybe you'll begin to understand how to take that first step in the right direction, because I'm not going to mince words. You have most likely been approaching dieting the wrong way. And it's not your fault. It's because this is what we're told. This is how we're told to do things. My Lose the Fat for Good workshop actually walks you through this process step by step. So if you were curious about the Lose Fat for Good workshop, just check the episode details in the show notes for more info, and you'll click on a page where it'll tell you more about that. But it's about doing it the right way when you've probably been doing it the wrong way for decades. There's so many ways we could approach this conversation, but ultimately, let's just start with the facts. Number one, nutrition choices control how much your body weighs, mainly through fat loss and fat gain. That is normally how the scale ends up moving. You are either gaining fat or you're losing fat, sometimes losing muscle, things like that. And it's your nutrition choices. Yes, your activity does impact it, but we'll go more into that. Nutrition overall has the largest piece of the pie when it comes to deciding if your body is going to gain weight or lose weight. Number two, your nutrition choices dictate your body's ability to gain and maintain your lean muscle mass. If your nutrition is not on point, if you're not doing things at least kind of sort of the right way, you're not going to be able to gain muscle in lean muscle mass. You want lean muscle mass. Maybe you don't know that that's what you want, but I'm telling you that's what you want. You want to be toned. That means you need lean muscle mass. And guess what? After the age of 30, your body just naturally starts losing muscle. Little by little, over time, your body just starts losing muscle. This is called sarcopenia. It is a normal part of the aging process that starts in your 30s. And if you are not actively doing anything to fight that, it's going to work against you. Number 3, your nutrition choices determine whether or not your body is receiving adequate macro and micronutrients to function in an efficient way. Think of your macronutrients: high fiber carbs, protein, healthy fats. These are those foods that are just so good for your body. Think of them, they're giving your body energy. These are the only foods that give your body usable energy. And think of them as the gas that fuels your body. And then within those whole foods, those nourishing, nutritious foods, they contain the micronutrients. And these are the minerals and the vitamins. And think of them as the oil that keeps your system running smoothly. Okay, so the macros are the gas that gives your body the energy to go. The micronutrients is the oil that keeps your engine running smoothly. Spending your life on a diet, it can leave you deficient in both macro and micronutrients. And also constantly overeating, where you're gaining weight, eating a lot of processed, calorie-dense foods, think of foods that are high in fats, high in sugars, and don't have all those nutrients in them, then you may not be getting enough fiber or micronutrients. It's kind of scary to think that you could actually be very overweight, but also be malnourished in certain ways. But this is a reality for people. When you make the decision to start taking steps towards a healthier version of yourself, I'm going to guess a big part of that motivation is to lose fat. You want to get skinnier. You want to get smaller. And one of the biggest myths out there is that fitness is how you're going to do it. Choosing a particular workout. Oh, this new workout plan. This is how I'm going to get those results that I want. But remember everything I just told you about nutrition, that it dictates all these ways that your body functions. And often when a new workout program is promoted, they're showing you these before and after photos and saying, do this program and get results like this. And then they show you a bunch of before and after photos where obviously everybody's lost weight, because that's, what everybody's looking for is to lose weight. And you think, okay, if I do this workout program, I'm going to get those same results that all those people have in their after photos. And they're trying to convince you that fitness is the way that you get those results by you could do this program that's bar based. You could do this program that's yoga based. You could do this program that's cardio based, all these different programs. And they're just trying to tell you, buy this new fitness program because this is how you're going to get results. But the truth is, your results are not going to come from the workout program. Of course, you're going to have positive effects by working out, moving your body. Let's just make that very clear. It is good to move your body no matter what you're doing. Please get up and move. Please work out. But the actual results that you get from that program are going to be dependent on your nutrition choices. You could literally do the same exact workout program with 2 entirely different approaches to your nutrition, and you would get different results based on whatever nutrition plan you choose. First, you need to recognize that weight loss is dependent on one thing and one thing only: calories. A calorie deficit means you're eating less calories than your body needs to maintain its current weight or mass, which simply put is dependent on your metabolism and activity level. Every single one of us sitting here right now, you have a certain amount of calories that your body needs to just keep you alive, to get you through your daily activities, get you through your workout. Obviously, the more you move, the more demands you're going to put on the amount of energy that you need to maintain your body mass. And if you want to learn more about this process, definitely subscribe to my Demystifying Macros mini podcast, where I walk you through what's known as energy balance and how macronutrients and a calorie deficit work. So we're not going to dive too deep into it right now. You can subscribe to my Demystifying Macros mini podcast, which is a free resource if you want to understand more about this. But in theory, you can create a calorie deficit either through your activity level or through your nutrition, because it's that balance of how much you're eating versus how much you're moving. But it's way easier to cut out 500 calories from the food that you're eating than burn 500 calories with large amounts of activity or extremely strenuous activity. It is just easier to cut the calories out of your diet. So here is how that's going to affect your fitness program results. We'll use an example here, and we're going to call the fitness program the Hot Body Program. Okay, so you're signing up for the Hot Body Program, and you're going to do the Hot Body Program. In the first part of our example here, you're going to eat in maintenance. That means we're going to figure out what your body needs in terms of calories on a daily basis on average, and you're going to eat those same amount of calories, including the workouts. And every day you're looking to just maintain. You're not looking to lose weight. You're not looking to gain weight. And we're just going to track the calories. We are not going to worry about protein. We're not going to worry about carbs. We're not going to worry about fat. And if you maintain those calories and you stick to your workout plan, and we've done the calculation, your body's gonna pretty much stay the same, even though you're working really hard at that workout program. If you are just looking at calories and you're not interested in intentionally eating a certain amount of protein, then your body's pretty much gonna look the same. Let's say it's a 12-week workout program. You're gonna look pretty much the same at the beginning as you do at the end, because you have not created a calorie deficit, you have not lost any weight, and you may have built a little bit of muscle, but you're not going to see anything too significant. It's probably going to be really good for your cardiovascular health. That is one huge benefit, and we cannot ignore that. But if you were looking to get those results that you saw in the after photo, and you just did the workouts and you did not intentionally do anything different with your nutrition other than just try to maintain your weight, you're not going to see a whole lot of difference, and you're really limiting yourself, especially when it comes to strength gains. Now, in our second option here, we're still going to do the Hot Body Fitness Program, but you're going to cut your calories by going into a planned calorie deficit. Again, we're just focusing on calories, but we're not going to worry about protein. We're not going to worry about carbs. We're not going to worry about fats. We are just going to cut our calories, do this workout plan, and see what happens. And what's going to happen is you're probably going to lose weight because, again, you're cutting calories. And how do we lose weight? How do we lose fat? We got to cut the calories. But you're probably not going to look very toned. And you're probably going to lose a whole bunch of muscle along the way, and that is not good for your metabolism. Remember from previous episodes when I explained how muscles are active, they're living. I think of them as being very alive. They need energy. They're going to be draining off your battery supply, that food that you're eating. Whereas adipose tissue or body fat, it just kind of sits there. It's a couch potato. It does not require any energy from the foods you eat to function. So the more muscle mass you have, the higher your caloric needs are, the more energy you burn, and it's very beneficial to your overall energy needs or metabolism, if you will. So you're gonna lose weight. Remember, we're in a calorie deficit. We're working out, and this would even happen if you didn't work out. But I'm saying a lot of people start fitness programs because they want to get specific results. So you're working out, you're dieting, you're cutting calories, you're hungry a lot of the time. If you're not tracking your protein and you're just looking at calories, you're probably going to be really hungry during this process because protein helps keep you full between meals. And you're going to lose muscle, and you might be excited because you're like, cool, I'm losing weight. I must be doing things right. But you're not seeing the detrimental side effects from that muscle loss that's occurring because you're just cutting calories. And this would be something like if you just did a calorie cut, if you just were counting calories and you were not including the macro side of things. Then again, let's do the hot body workout program and let's pay no attention. We're going to eat whatever we want. We're going to go through the drive-thru. We're going to go out to eat Friday night, Saturday night. We're going to watch the football game with our friends. We're going to have tons of apps. We're going to drink our beers. We're going to have wine when we go out to dinner. And we are just going to eat and drink whatever we want. We're in a calorie surplus. So guess what? We're going to gain fat even though we're working out because we are eating more calories than our body needs. And especially if you're doing cardio-based workouts, you're probably not going to gain any muscle. If you are doing strength training workouts and you're eating extra calories, then you probably will gain some strength along with the fat. So are you understanding the message that I'm sharing here? That your nutrition, your calories and protein are the biggest impact on how your body responds to the fitness program. If you want to gain muscle, first of all, you have to choose a strength training program with progressive overload. You want to make sure it's not just dumbbell cardio where you're just burning a ton of calories. You want to be building muscle. You need to eat. You need to eat enough calories. You need to at least be eating in maintenance so that you can be eating enough protein. Again, you got to include the macros here. You got to be eating enough protein to stimulate muscle protein synthesis, which is just a fancy way of saying to build muscle. So ideally, if you're doing this hot body program, you are starting off with eating enough food, not slashing your calories. Your fitness program is a strength training program, and you are building muscle and not losing fat right away when you get started. And doing your nutrition the right way by understanding your macros, by eating enough protein, by eating enough calories is the first step in getting those results that you want. When you hear the phrase abs are made in the kitchen or your results are 85% your diet, this is absolutely true. Because there is a difference between just working out versus actually training. And if you're just working out to get movement in and you're perfectly happy with all the things, if you're happy with how you look, if you're happy with how you feel, if you're happy with your energy levels, if you're happy with your strength, then go ahead, totally keep doing that. That is amazing. And I think that is the goal for all of us. But if you're out there killing yourself, doing a boot camp, doing workouts in the hopes with this idea in your head of this specific goal that you want, you have to make the right fitness and nutrition choices. And you need to switch your mindset from I'm just working out to I'm actually training. And I don't want this thought to be overwhelming to you, but you can't hope for results that you're not working properly towards. Do you think Olympic athletes just work out and ignore their nutrition or ignore their workout programming? Absolutely not. We've seen it so many times where all of a sudden an athlete just comes out of nowhere and they are killing it. And it always goes back to they've dialed in their nutrition, they've dialed in their training, and they've taken it more seriously. And I am not saying you need to be doing what a professional athlete does, but I think we can learn from them in a sense that we want to make sure our habits are efficient and get us the results that we want with the least amount of effort. So when I say training, I mean, let's just start doing workouts and eating in a way that's going to get you the results you actually want. If you genuinely want to work towards a specific goal, then let's make sure what you're doing matters. If you're working towards running a marathon, then you need to be following a training plan to get yourself up to a point where you can safely progress from where you are now to actually being able to run 26.1 miles. A training plan. And the same goes for those of us that don't have a goal like running a marathon. I used to do triathlons, and I look back and I'm like, I wasn't really training because I didn't do my nutrition right. I followed the workouts kind of sort of to do them, but if I could go back and do it again, I would probably get very different results because I would understand how to do my macros, how to do my calories, and overall my performance would just benefit without even, it doesn't take that much effort to see what is going to make the difference, to start doing your calories and macros. Nothing's more frustrating than working really hard and getting nowhere, or just ending up in a vicious cycle like many of us have when it comes to diet culture-based nutrition and fitness programs. There is nothing wrong with part of your goal being about how you look. There is nothing wrong with that. We all want to feel confident when we want to feel like our clothes look good on us. We want to look sexy for our partner. We want to look in the mirror and be like, damn, you look good. We all want that, and there's nothing wrong with it. You do not have to get skinny to have that feeling. It's an inside job, but the things that you do with your food and your fitness can definitely help you feel that way. For me, getting stronger and picking up heavier weights, that has been the best thing ever for my confidence and my mental health, because you cannot get stronger without also seeing the benefit of how that makes your body look and feel. And as I've said, the strength training has been the best thing I've ever done for the arthritis that I have in my back and my hip. I have had no flare-ups since I consistently started training weights. And it sounds kind of crazy, right? I'm doing really hard workouts and lifting really heavy, and you would think, oh no, you're fragile, you have arthritis, you shouldn't be doing that. Nope, because I have strengthened the scaffolding around my bones, and my bones don't take the brunt of things anymore. It is truly the best feeling in the world, and it's very self-motivating for me to see that result. In getting stronger, there are just so many ripple effects that you won't even know until you start getting stronger. And if you ultimately want to get leaner and change your body composition, you cannot wing it when it comes to your food. Overall, your nutrition is going to be a driving factor in how much energy you have, how strong you can get, and how toned you can look. Various hormones and how your metabolism functions, how your digestive system functions, and more. And you can't ignore sleep, hydration, alcohol consumption, overall activity level. All those things support you working towards the goals that you want. They help you to make better food choices. If you are not cranky and tired, it's much easier to stay away from the foods that are high sugar and high fat. And nutrition is going to be the foundation for all of this, for how you feel. So how do we look beyond the calories and just simply gaining and losing weight? Well, we have to look at your macros, because those examples I gave you before, like even if we just looked at your calories, you're going to get different results depending on how many calories you eat. But to go a little bit deeper and understand your macros, that's where you can really drive those results that you want. I've included my macro calculator in the episode details here. So if you want to go calculate your macros, just click on it. You can go to my macro calculator. I think a lot of you are going to freak out the first time you see those numbers. I know I absolutely freaked out when I saw my maintenance calories. I was like, there's a 2 in front of that? Are you kidding me? And my maintenance calories are between 2,200 and 2,300 calories. That freaked me out. Both of the diet programs I had been doing, the Portion Fix, I did that for many, many years. 2B Mindset, I did that for probably 2 years. In hindsight, I look back at the actual nutritional quality of those programs, and they are woefully low in protein. For example, the portion fixed diet, which if you're not familiar with it, it's like a way of doing macros, but it's just makes it more confusing now that I understand how macros work. They're trying to make it easier for you, but at the end of the day, it just overcomplicates things. But basically, they give you these different color-coded containers and they say, put all your proteins in this red container counts as your proteins. And they consider 2 eggs, guys, 2 eggs to be a serving of protein. 2 eggs has, depending on the size, about 14 grams of protein. Is probably the best amount of protein you can get out of an egg. And in the plan I was eating in, I was supposed to eat 4 servings of protein per day. So let's just assume I was like, okay, I am going to eat eggs 4 times a day. I'm going to have 8 eggs in one day. 14 times 4 is not even 60 grams of protein in a day. Okay? Even if you pretend you put chicken in there, which chicken is like one of the best foods out there for being high protein, low calorie. It's about 25 grams of protein per serving when you use that red container. So at best, if you ate chicken, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you could have 100 grams of protein per day. Like, holy crap. Not nearly enough protein, especially if you're trying to lose weight and you think you're in a fat loss phase. Okay? 60 to 100 grams of protein per day. That's what I was eating on that diet. How much protein do I eat right now? I'm in a fat loss phase. I'm eating 150 grams of protein per day. So this is almost 3 times the amount of protein that I was told to eat on that diet. And I want to be clear that diet is actually totally in alignment with the RDA's recommendation for protein. But those studies that were done were based on the protein needs of sedentary people. So the protein needs of someone who is sedentary, meaning walks less than like 2,000 to 3,000 steps per day. They're not even walking 3,000 steps per day. It means they're sitting around doing nothing. Sure, 60 grams of protein, that's fine. But I hope you're not sedentary. I hope you're moving. I hope you're working out. You're gonna need more protein, especially if you have any hope of gaining or maintaining the muscle that you already have, because to maintain it, yes, you need to eat protein and you need to strength train. You don't need to constantly be going up and up and up on your weights, but you need to be giving your body the resistance training to keep your muscles building and to maintain that strength and that muscle mass. Okay, so most of you listening, you're in your 40s. And what did I say? Your body for probably about 10 plus years has been going through this process where it is just naturally losing muscle. So maybe those protein amounts might be adequate for like a teenager or someone whose body is actively in a process where it wants to build muscle. But for you, it is not enough unless you were literally a teeny tiny, like 4'10" person, because your needs, your calorie and macro needs are based on, part of that is based on your size. And the only people that should be eating low calories, like lower than 1,600 calories, would be someone who is like very, very petite and tiny. If you've been dieting off and on for decades and you've been under eating protein, cutting out food groups, not working to build muscle, you've just been doing workouts. You think you're working out, but you are not intentionally building muscle. Because what I will tell you is, and I'm just saying this from my own experience, I thought I was working to build muscle for a long time. And then I started strength training intentionally to build muscle. And that is a whole different ball game. And that's what you're doing when you're doing it. Like, you can barely lift your last couple reps of a set. You need to rest between your moves. You can't just bounce around and go from one move to the next. And I don't really sweat a lot unless it's leg day, which does make you're using those large muscle groups. That makes the heart rate go up, makes you sweat a little bit more. And I only work out 4 days a week because I work out so hard on those days I work out. It's not beneficial for me to try and squeeze in another weightlifting day. I'll do other things. I do stretching, maybe some yoga, and I walk every single day. So we talked about the protein intake needed for someone who is sedentary. Very low protein needs. Those 60 to 100 grams per day would be totally fine. But if you're actively building muscle, and that's what your goal is, then the recommendation is 0.8 to 1.0 grams of protein per pound. Okay? Pound of body weight. So that means if you weigh 200 pounds, then your protein goal would be between 160 to 200 grams of protein per day. Especially if you're in a fat loss phase. If you're in a fat loss phase, you want to be eating closer to the 1.0 grams of protein per pound of body weight. You want to be eating closer to that in the fat loss phase, just because it's going to help you stay full longer and maintain that muscle that you've worked so hard to build. All right, is your mind blown? You're like, wait, what? To go from eating so little protein to actually eating adequate protein, it is going to change everything for you. And part of this information was in my nutrition certification when I took the course, and I'm going, oh my gosh, I didn't know the actual numbers. I knew I wasn't eating enough, but this is crazy. And if you're a little nerdy and you like to learn more about science, I definitely would recommend the book Flexible Dieting by Alan Aragon, where he lays out all the research, all the meta-analysis that he has done. He's basically the father of macros. He is just incredible with the amount of time, effort, and energy he has put into understanding how to build a healthy body and, be healthy for life. So the book is called Flexible Dieting. Definitely can get a little bit into the weeds with the evidence and the research, but overall you can get an understanding of how nutrition works in your body and why this protein amount is what is needed if you really want to build muscle and you want to get stronger. Where that calculation doesn't work so well with the 0.8 to 1.0 grams of protein per day per pound of body weight is if you are obese, you have a lot of excess body fat. So say if you weigh 300 pounds and, you're 5'4" or something like that, you want to be basing your protein intake closer to what you think would be your ideal body weight. So maybe something a little bit closer to like 150 pounds and be eating somewhere around 120, 130 grams of protein per day. Because 300 grams of protein per day is way off in the other direction. But if you're someone where your body fat percentage and your body weight is in a more normal range, then this number is going to work really well for you. And it's not to say that if you weigh 300 pounds, you can't do this. You absolutely can. I would just really suggest getting the advice of a professional to make sure that you get your macro numbers in a direction that's really going to work for you. Okay, I got so excited talking about that part because I'm just telling you, my mind was blown when I did the math. Because when I was doing that diet with the containers, and then when I was doing 2B Mindset, which I think 2B Mindset is a wonderful program for many people, but when it came to building muscle, I really struggled, and I just now realize I just wasn't eating enough protein because really the focus of that program is for weight loss. And I'm sure you could use it and maybe ultimately figure out how to add in more protein, but I think it would require tracking. I don't think that guessing your plate and all that stuff is really going to work when you are working intentionally towards building muscle. And that program, they even say, oh, you don't even have to work out. Like, you can just use this program to lose weight. So that is what some people do. So when I'm talking about a program like 21 Day Fix, I am just using that because it's very typical of a lot of diets and workouts out there. Basically, the workout program is you're just doing cardio dumbbell workouts. These are not strength training workouts. You're getting sweaty. You're pushing yourself really hard for 30 minutes. It's great. You're doing a workout. Nothing wrong with that. They're great, quick little workouts. Just be aware they are not going to cause you to get stronger unless you're a very, very beginner to working out, and it's always easier to build muscle when you're a beginner. I was eating in plan A of that program, which is a 1,200 to 1,500 calories per day, which honestly makes me nauseous to know that I ate that way for so long. I always wanted to lose weight. When you're doing the calculations, they're like, oh, you want to lose weight? Okay, cool. Bump down, I think it was like bump down 2 categories from where you were, or 3 or something. But anyway, I was always like, yes, I want to eat the least amount because I want to make sure that I am losing weight. And if you're not eating enough protein, as I've already stated, what's going to happen where you are slashing? So these calories, at the time, I weighed less than I weigh now. I've been very transparent with you guys that I've gained weight as I have gained muscle. It is the best thing I've ever done. But I did weigh less when I did that program. So let's say I was probably about 15 to 20 pounds less than I am now. If I am looking at those calories, I'm still way, way, way under my maintenance calories for the weight that I was at. I lost a bunch of weight, and when you slash calories like that and you stick to them, you're absolutely going to lose weight. You're also going to lose muscle. Why are you going to lose muscle? Because you are doing absolutely nothing to maintain your muscle mass. Remember, you're just doing cardio workouts. And to target fat loss and not lose muscle, you still have to be strength training and making sure that your nutrition is including the program and the calories that your body needs. I'm a big fan when you do your calculations in my calculator, I am giving you the least deficit with the most bang for your buck by choosing a 15% deficit from your maintenance calories. Once you start going 20, 30%, can you do that? Is it going to harm you in the long run? Maybe, maybe not. But I'm someone that wants to get the most results for the least amount of pain. And doing a 15% calorie deficit has been shown to be a really nice way to lose the fat because you can stick to your plan, because you're not severely restricted to the point that you're starving and then are going to binge. It's a nice gradual thing, and it's so much more enjoyable. And I say this being in a calorie deficit right now. It has never been easier. It has never been more enjoyable. My mental health has never been stronger while losing fat. Okay, so if you are just losing weight on the scale, remember that that's going to include muscle, it's going to include water weight, and it's going to include some fat. If you are very overweight and have a lot of excess body fat and you severely slash your calories and you start working out, you might fare a little bit better than, say, someone who's just trying to lose 10 or 15 pounds. Because if you have not been working out for a long time, you can do a little bit of body recomposition a little bit easier. Like I said, if you're a true beginner, but generally speaking, the person who follows a plan like this, where you're severely slashing your calories, you're not eating enough protein, you are going to lose weight. You absolutely are. You're going to see the scale go down, but even though you feel like you're doing something good for yourself and you're getting that dopamine reward of seeing the scale number go down and you're getting skinnier, are you going to be maintaining it? Is this the best way to do it? Now, if I could go back in time and do things the right way, I would recalculate my numbers with a macro calculator. I would have realized that I should probably have been eating 2,000 calories per day at that time based on the weight that I was versus the 1,200 to 1,500 calories per day. I should know that I should have been having a minimum of 115 grams of protein or possibly up to 140, 145 grams of protein to maintain my muscle. And if I was entering a fat loss phase, I would have eaten about 1,750 calories per day and kept that protein intake up probably closer to the 140, 145 grams per day during that fat loss phase. Additionally, I would know that I need to do an actual muscle building workout, not cardio dumbbells, because if you're constantly doing cardio, you're also going to make it that much harder for your body to build muscle. I want to be burning fat and losing fat through that calorie deficit. And if you're not eating enough protein and you're slashing your calories, your body is going to be looking for calories wherever it can find it, and it's going to go after it in your muscles. And you know when your body starts doing that? It's when you're starving. Your body's not going to go after the protein in your muscles and the energy in your muscles if you're just doing a slight calorie deficit. That is a starvation mode. And no, you are never going to gain weight because you're in starvation mode. That is not how it works. I know that some people think, oh, I'm not eating enough food and that's why I'm gaining weight. No, you're not eating enough of the right foods. If you eat enough of the right foods, it's very easy to lose fat, actually. This is a very nuanced process. I can't get into the weeds and all the details on a podcast episode, but I just want you to walk away from, you can choose to be skinny and slash your calories and do cardio workouts and get that weight loss and probably not be able to maintain it without continuing to eat very, very little. Because what happened to me is I walked around eating that 1,200 to 1,500 calories, and now I know that I entered an adaptation where my metabolism was knowing, hey, Lil's not getting enough food. She's not getting enough calories. Let's slow things down, which is an adaptation that humans have created in our bodies to bring us through times of famine and when food is not readily available. It's a survival mechanism. But if you're trying to lose weight and maintain a lower weight, it actually starts working against you. And the way to counteract that is to build the muscle. If you have a lot of lean muscle mass, and this takes a long time, it takes years. My goal is to get up to a point where I'm eating like 2,500 to 2,700 calories per day. And that's going to happen through building muscle, where my body needs those calories because I have so much muscle. And to me, that is my goal. And I know it's going to take time. After I get out of this fat loss phase, I'm going to recalculate what my maintenance is. And I'm going to see where I'm at. And then I'm going to be pushing to really build that muscle and work towards a maintenance phase where I can be eating 2,500 plus calories per day. And that is something I'm really excited for. And you're probably like, oh my God, I can't ever eat with a 2 in front of the amount of calories I should be eating today. Like, we are so scared of that too. And I'm telling you, do your calculations, look at that number and make peace with it. Because that is what your body needs. Your body needs to be nourished. A lot of diets out there are going to exploit the fact that most of you have no idea what a balanced and nourishing diet looks like. And these minimum protein suggestions that a lot of diets follow are for sedentary people, not people who are working out and building muscle. So calories and protein, this is king when it comes to getting toned. Your body requires different things depending on the demand you place on it. Think of someone who's a marathon runner, and then think of someone who is a sprinter, the person that does, the 100 meter, the 50 meters. Who's got a lot of muscle? It's those sprinters. They need to have that muscle for that quick energy. Remember how I said your muscles hold on to energy? And they need that power to power them through that very short burst of activity. Your marathon runner needs to have more endurance, and they don't want to be dragging a heavier body through 26.1 miles. So they're going to be leaner and they're going to have just enough muscle to get them through, but they want to be light. They don't want to have a heavy load. So whatever your goal is, you have to make sure that you're eating appropriately. Your sprinter is probably going to be eating a lot of calories, a lot of protein, still carbohydrates. Your marathon runner is going to be eating a good amount of protein, and they're going to be eating a lot of carbs and a lot of calories. I've worked with marathon runners, and the number one issue that most of them have is they do not eat enough. They do not replenish their food, their glycogen stores, the carbohydrates after they've gone on a long run. Because when you do a long run, that is where your body is kicking in, grabbing that energy from your muscles, grabbing energy from fat wherever it can, and you need to refuel so badly. Just think of the amount of calories that you're burning when you're going on a really long run. That's why a lot of runners are very, very skinny. But again, it's about tailoring your nutrition to your goals. Okay, we talked about protein. Now we have to talk about fiber. The average American eats 15 grams or less of fiber today. The recommended amount is 25 grams for women and 40 grams for men, but most of you are eating 15 grams or less. And I'm bringing this up because, as I said earlier this month in my episode about scammy diets, the whole gut health thing, we need to talk about this. So how many people out there have digestive issues, are having problems with bloating, irregularity, all those things? How many people that have those symptoms are actually tracking their fiber and looking to see how much fiber they're eating on a daily basis? Probably most of you have no idea how much fiber you're actually eating. And if you're not eating enough fiber, then you are not doing yourself any favors when it comes to your digestive system. So instead of looking for supplements or a gut health diet, why not take some time to figure out if you're actually getting enough fiber in your diet? The best way to get fiber is through whole foods. This has been proven time and time again. Yes, you can add things like Metamucil if needed, but the best way is to get a mix of soluble and insoluble fiber through your diet by eating whole grains, fruits and veggies, legumes, and naturally getting that fiber in your diet. And this can be a really simple first step in fixing these issues. And of course, please talk to your doctor to make sure you're doing what's best for you. You don't want to be missing if your gastrointestinal issues are actually a symptom of something that could be really harmful to your health. You don't want to be ignoring those. But instead of freaking out and starting to take supplements and going on a restrictive diet, maybe just figure out if you're eating enough fiber. And if you have been over dieting and you have been under eating and you've been constantly on a diet, your system is going to be whack. Guess what a symptom of over dieting it is? Gas, bloating, constipation, irregularity. So start nourishing your body. Stop being afraid to eat what your body needs, and maybe you'll feel better. Just a tip here, if you finally get out a food tracker, if you grab the Lose It app like I recommend for my clients, and you say, okay, let me just see how much fiber am I actually eating per day, and you realize you're eating like 10 grams of fiber per day, maybe 15 grams of fiber a day, and you want to aim for that 25, 30 grams per day, don't do it all at once. You need to slowly increase your fiber intake while also making sure to drink plenty of water at the same time. Think of fiber as straw or hay. And when you eat foods that are high fiber, if you're not drinking enough water, that dry hay can get stuck in your system. But when you drink enough water, you are helping it pass through. So you don't want it dry and hard and clumped together, causing constipation, which can happen if you suddenly went from eating barely any fiber to all of a sudden eating adequate amounts of fiber. So you want to gradually increase your fiber intake and make sure that you're drinking plenty of water to make it easier to pass so that you don't then cause yourself to be constipated. Immediately jumping into a high fiber diet is not recommended. I eat a high fiber diet, but I tiptoed my way into it. Okay, I could go on and on as to why nutrition is the foundation for your health. We covered the most important highlights here: calories, protein, fiber. Bottom line, if you don't get your nutrition right, if you don't learn to nourish your body, and if you don't give your body a break from dieting, you're not doing yourself any favors. In fact, it's probably going to do the opposite. You should be spending most of your time in maintenance calories working to build muscle because, yes, if you're eating adequate protein, adequate calories, you can build muscle. You should be spending very little time in a fat loss phase. As I said, metabolic adaptation. I've told you about this fat loss phase that I'm doing. I will absolutely not be doing it longer than 12 weeks, even though it's going really well so far. No matter where I am, I'm going to stop and I'm going to go back into maintenance. And then it's probably, honestly, going to be a year or more before I even consider doing another fat loss phase. You need to nourish your body and give it the nutrients that it needs. And being on a diet does not do that. Macros and calories are going to be what powers you through to get the results you want, that you feel like you're working towards. And if you're not getting the results you want, then it's time to think about your plan and change things up. If you ignore the nutrition side of things, you can end up expecting to feel frustrated and confused. Again, you can check out my Lose the Fat for Good workshop where I walk you through step by step. Or you can reach out to me for one-to-one coaching. If I have spots available, then I can take you on as a client where you're going to get all the tools and support to reach your goals. People who work with me one-to-one are the ones who just want to streamline it, don't want to figure things out for themselves, and they want to have just like that extra bit of support. The Lose Fat for Good workshop is for you if you're okay with going through the process of some trial and error and trying to figure things out on your own, and you're not ready for the investment in one-to-one coaching, but it's a great place to start. I don't want you to get overwhelmed or think that this is complicated. You know what's overwhelming? Constantly dieting and never feeling like you get to your end point and being frustrated with it. Okay? That is not how you want to live your life. Bottom line, putting the effort, learning how to eat correctly, learning how to nourish your body, learning how to lose fat the right way, learning how to lose fat easily is going to pay off so much more in the long run than constantly chasing weight loss, and doing it through dieting. Okay. We're almost done here. We're almost at an hour. I hope this episode gave you some clarity on what you want to focus on next. I promise you it is not complicated. You just have to make the decision to take the time to educate yourself, take action. This is how you learn how to build your formula for feeling your best. And I know that's why you're here. I would encourage you to go back and listen to previous episodes of this podcast because every episode is a little sneak peek into each part of this process. I would encourage you to look at my Lose Fat for Good workshop, reach out to me. For the first time this week, I had so much fun. I sent out in my email newsletter. If you're not on my email newsletter list, make sure you get on that. That link is also in the episode details. And I sent out an email and I said, ask me anything, and I will do my best to answer it. And it was so much fun answering those questions and this helping people take one step in the direction they want to go. So I'm probably going to do that maybe every quarter. I will send out an Ask Me Anything email where I can give you just a little personalized feedback and advice. So make sure you get on my email newsletter, because I feel like that's the most fun I've had, interacting with those of you who are on my newsletter list. It was really, really fun. I know a lot of people do it on Instagram, but I don't have a huge Instagram following. I'm not on there a ton. I try to get on there every day, but my email newsletter is where I connect with you guys most. And you can always email me if you have a question about something that I send in that newsletter. That newsletter goes out Monday mornings at 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you're not on my newsletter list, make sure that you get on there. You get tips, recipes, different ideas. I'm always talking about different things. There's no consistent theme. But if you like what we talk about here on the podcast, then you will probably also like what I send in the newsletter. Thank you so much. If you're still here, this has been a really long episode, but it's so important. And I hope that I helped you create a deeper understanding of where your energy and focus should lie if you truly want to work towards a lean and toned body. And that's it. That's why we're here. Okay, I will see you on Friday, or I will be talking to you on Friday when the mini session comes out. Okay, bye. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode of the Feel Your Best Formula podcast. If you haven't already, make sure to check the episode details for my new listener starter guide, and any additional resources mentioned in the episode can also be found in the show notes on my website. You can always find me on Instagram at Macros with Lil, and for more healthy lifestyle tips, recipes, and information on my one-to-one and group coaching services, make sure to check out my website. All the links can be found below. If you know someone else who is ready to start building their formula for feeling their best, please share the love and send them a link to the podcast. I hope you found today's episode helpful, and I'll see you back here next week for a brand new one.